Hi everybody, Keith here. Hey, I'm just down here at the river, scoping things out. Downtown Waterloo. Hope you can see that. Spent a few nights under this bridge here. Closest thing I could call the home. No door. Didn't have to worry about getting up in the morning. I woke up automatically whenever I needed to. Didn't have to worry about somebody breaking in. It's pretty nice sometimes, you know. Anyway, I wanted to talk to people today about this word representative and the pen being mightier than the sword if you know how to use it. And so first I want to talk about, before we get into the language itself, I want to talk about mathematics. Everything in life works on mathematics, mathematical equations, no matter how you look at it. First there was one, then there was two. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Of two came three, then four, and then five, and so on to infinity. And we can manipulate all of those different numbers in many different ways. And so that's what's been done when we talk about our languages. See, when we talk about languages, we're talking about two different things. We're talking about a spoken language, which is a code according to your origin. The English language is a different code than that of the French language, which is a different code than that of the German language. And they're all different codes. That's all they are. Then we have the written language, in which we express that code numerically instead of phonetically. Think about this, people. And think about it really good. Because before we can make the first letter, we have to make the first mark. Now, each mark, the outcome is dependent on the intent of what you want it to look like. So you can't use a circle to make an L if you want it to look like an L. So mathematically in your mind, you have to draw a picture of a curve which uses angles, or a straight line, whether it be horizontal, vertical, and these are all mathematical decisions. So when we talk about any language, whether it be English, French, German, whatever, we're talking about mathematical equations that each spoken language uses to express it in literal, written language by the pen. Okay? So, we've got the first mark that we ever make is number 1. The second mark would be number 2. Now, this is in regards to symbols that we construct together to make letters, which is another symbol, which we construct together to make words, which is another symbol, and so on and so forth with sentences, paragraphs, chapters, books, series, etc. All mathematical. And so when we look at certain words, we have to realize whether it's a word or a term or a contraction. Those are all different things. We have ain't, isn't, won't, don't, didn't, doesn't, all kinds of contractions. And what those are is two words contracted, subtracted into one. Okay? So now we've used mathematics to create a different thing than a word, which is specifically called a contraction. Then we use words in connection by additions of suffixes and prefixes. So again, now we're using the other scale of mathematics by adding instead of subtracting, which we've already done by writing it down in regards to language. We've taken a spoken language and we've subtracted the phonetics and put in, added. So we've done two things there. And what that does is it changes the mathematics. It changes the mathematics from vibrations to an expression. freedom to express yourself. Understand how this mathematics thing ties everything in the Constitution, everything that you have a right to, inherently and unalienable, all together if you learn how to use the mathematics in accordance to how you convey your intent through the various languages. Okay? It's all a matter of how you construct your own words, the words that are right for you, the right words, your jurisdiction. Okay? So remember this when we think about this word, and this is where we're going to get into the word representative. Representative is a construct of a word with suffixes and prefixes. With a suffix and prefix. Now what you've done is you've added things and made it a term. It's no longer a word, it's a term. It's a term based on the suffixes or prefixes added to it that specify certain things in regards to times and places and things or people. Nouns in accordance to time. And remember, people, a noun is a person, place, or thing. And we know a person to be a fiction. In law, a person is a fiction. So, when we speak about this word representative, it says present, at, if. Those are the prefixes pre, or re, R-E, and then the word itself is present. And this is directly in regards to present, now time, present. And this is why language has so much to do with time. Past tense, pretense, future tense, pretense, past tense, future tense. What do they all have to do? They have to do with mathematics. Time, a timeline. So when we think about representative in a timeline, we're talking about something that's already been presented once, and now somebody is representing it as the representative. So what has been presented already, and who presented it? Who is the original issuer? Well, if I'm the authorized representative, then somebody else is the original issuer. Think about these words I'm using, people. Original, issue, discount. Who's getting the discount on a taxation system if they're the original issue on that commercial item? You're somehow tying yourself to that name by claiming that original issue on that tax paper when you should be claiming the original issue, which is full exemption under your nationality. And this is where your green card comes in. And yeah, everybody wants to talk about green card in regards to foreigners coming into the United States of America. Green card presents your nationality no matter where you're at. Your birth certificate that everybody wants to authenticate, you're authenticating a commercial system. Whereas if you authenticate your original birth statement, which is the green card that the Bureau of Vital Statistics that the Secretary of State will provide as an option to the birth certificate for conducting your affairs privately rather than within the public commercial system as a United States citizen. That's the first issue. That's your first issue. That's your original issue. The state's original issue is the birth certificate. The financial instrument that they created is their issue. Your issue is the original birth statement. And even this, I just recently got in a discussion today about this in regards to this green certificate, this green card. And basically what it comes from your county of birth, and it places the hospital where you were born on. No other commercial instrument will place that hospital name on that document. And that's the importance of the original birth statement. It places the jurisdiction corporately within the government for that statement of conveyance. They're the ones that originally unlawfully conveyed it into a commercial instrument for the construction of a certificate of live birth and a birth certificate. Certificate of live birth is done through the Bureau of Vital Statistics through your state. The birth certificate itself is done through the Treasury and is known as a banknote, run through the Federal Reserve Banks for the Treasury under the IMF and regulated by the IRS. Okay? So when we present the birth certificate, what we're doing is subjecting ourselves to all of those jurisdictions. And when we present the green card, we're belaying our jurisdiction as separate, as a national, separate from all of those jurisdictions. And this is the importance of the Uniform Commercial Code 1.103, where it says the laws are uniform through all jurisdictions. You make your claim in one jurisdiction, and it should be carried through all jurisdictions. So the thing is, we need to find the jurisdiction we need to make the claim in, and that is the highest one, and then it carries down. And like I said in my last videos, the nature of the Admiralty in Admiralty Maritime is that it's naval, and they're the construct of enforcement for your Uniform Commercial Code. Okay? Maritime is actually your commercial merchant law with your military enforcement, and that's why it's called maritime. They have transferred the maritime laws of the sea of enforcement onto the commercial section of the land so that we can enforce our stature, our status as man in nature through our nationality on the land by using our own private military enforcement at arm's length force of arms, which we all have a right to independently. We don't have to be associated with somebody else to be able to bear our arms. We don't have to be associated with anybody else to stay at arms, to keep people off of us. We don't have to have any written document to state that. In beginning was word. My word is my bond. And any word written in a document, I will clarify my own damn self through my own mathematics. And so remember, UCC, this is the importance of why I want to talk to you about the authorized representative. And understand, people, when we do all this banking stuff throughout all our life, and we get this bank account with a checkbook, where we can physically write a physical instrument with a signature, a wet ink signature, that signature line says, it is not a line, it is actually microprint, and you can look at this under microscopic instruments, magnifying it so you can actually visually see it. It says in all capital letters strung together with no spaces repeatedly, it says authorized representative. Now understand, all courts operate on an opinion that is presumed. And it has already been presumed through all banking procedures for every instrument that you sign that you are the authorized representative. Okay? Now, if that falls true for you, it falls true for everybody else. We have to accept the idea that my rights are the same as everybody else's, and everybody else's rights are the same as mine. So that includes every police officer, every lawyer, every judge, every congressman, every senator, every public officer, every corporate officer has the same right. And they're all delegated under UCC 3-104, or excuse me, 1-304. Excuse me. (1-304), Section B, Part 1. And you'll see it says authorized representative not liable. So when we're going to these courts, and we know they're putting civil actions, but giving it a CR case number, meaning criminal actions, that they're actually presenting a civil instrument providing for a description of a criminal complaint within their regulation departments under contractual terms. And they're doing so and signing as authorized representative, saying that they're not liable. What they're not liable for is under the contract side. They're not liable for any of the contracts. Nobody is. Understand this. Nobody is liable as a representative for any contract. Understand the wording of 1-304 section B part 1. No one is liable for a contract under authorized representative, period. So anybody signing in that capacity is not liable. And that's all they're doing. They're signing in a capacity of authorized representative. So what we have to do is we have to file our counterclaim, cross-libel, or a cross-claim against libel complaint. Libel complaint is they've written a statement and they brought you in, a physical being, without any proper identification. Every identification made in every one of these cases you will see is not mathematically done correctly, denoting a live being through the correct use of syntax and punctuation. Punctuation, as in separation and addition and subtraction and reduction and all of that, contractions and conjunctions, they're all contracts binding you to your word that you've written. So you better start understanding the words you write. I no longer sign anything. If I ever sign any kind of contract, I will be the one that mathematically constructs it myself. Because my word is my bond. Your word is not my bond. Period. They're false. They can be proven to be false simply by the construction of them. Period. So understand this stuff, people. No one is responsible for contracts as an authorized representative. And if we're going to go against these people in court, we need to start learning the right words. We need to construct them ourselves, and we need to be exact about them. They have to be mathematically correct. The right words. That's what jurisdiction is. You're phonetically reducing the truth. So if you're going to reduce the truth in any manner, you reduce it in its minimalist. When it comes to these documents in full disclosure, look at the word disclosure. And understand that closure means if you're going to draw a circle, you can't use a dash here, and then a space, and then another dash, and then another space, and then another dash, and then another space, and then convince people that that's a circle, because it's not. It's only representative of a circle, because there are points where there's no closure. There's no closure. It has disclosure in it. And a document that has full disclosure has been disclosed to its fullest point. It's like a puzzle that you purchase in a box. You see the picture on the front. That's been disclosed by giving you closure of what the picture is supposed to look like. When you open the box and you see all the pieces mumbled and jumbled about, that is full disclosure. It has been fully disclosed. It has been fully displaced. It has been dispositioned. Disposition. What position are you in? Well, I have the standing as a national known as an Iowan because I was born Keith Orland of the family Little of Dubuque on Iowa. So anyway, think about this stuff and think about all these words and understand the word is the construct of origin, the spoken word. So if you're going to get down to the exact basis of the word, you got to understand the conjunctions, the contractions, suffixes, and prefixes that you're using in connection with those words that change them from words to terms and conditions. Conditions of contracts. You're agreeing that you are representing something else. That's a contractual term. Just by putting your, even though unknowingly, unwittingly, and unintentionally, and that is your recourse and remedy, even though you signed on what is seen to be a line, because nobody can physically see the words unless they magnify them, as a signature when in fact it says authorized representative, it's been given closure. It is there. You just have to look more intensely. Put it that way. Anyway, think about every word you ever read from now on, and understand whether it's actually a word, a term, or a condition by the suffixes, prefixes, contractions, all of that. The punctuations, and even numbers within grammar denote a different language. And that's why on a check you see it written out in English, $173.73, and written numerically, because those are two different languages denoting two payments, two sides of the ledger. And this is what shows us that we have the option of charge-offs, so that we can set it down to one side of the ledger and close out that debt, give closure to the debt. Think about this stuff, people. This is why it's so important. Understand the words. My battery's getting low, so I gotta go. But again, if it weren't for you people, I wouldn't be doing this. God bless y'all. Love you. Have a great day. I'm gonna go enjoy some more of this river at peace and freely. Have a good day, people.